In the bustling streets of San Francisco, where tech giants loomed like modern castles against the sky, lived a 45-year-old man everyone knew as Blue. The nickname came from his faded blue jacket that he'd kept pristine despite living on the streets for 3 years. Unlike many assumptions about homeless individuals, Blue had a college degree in computer engineering, but life had thrown him several cruel curveballs. Every morning, Blue would set up his small spot near a popular coffee shop in the financial district. Instead of asking for money, he offered to debug people's phones or fix minor computer issues, anything to maintain his dignity and keep his skills sharp. His makeshift workstation consisted of a weathered laptop he'd repaired from parts found in recycling bins, and a cardboard sign that read, "Tech Help, Pay What You Can." The morning that changed everything started like any other. The fog rolled in thick over the bay, and Blue arranged his spot with methodical care. He'd just helped a grateful teenager recover deleted photos from her phone when a sleek Tesla pulled up to the curb, its tire clearly punctured by what looked like a construction nail. The driver stepped out, clearly frustrated and running late for a meeting. Blue recognized him instantly. Who wouldn't know Elon Musk? But what caught Blue's attention wasn't the celebrity status, it was the simple fact that someone needed help. Without hesitation, he approached the car, keeping a respectful distance. "Excuse me, sir," Blue called out politely. "I noticed your flat tire. I used to work at a Tesla service center. If you have a spare, I can help you change it in about 10 minutes. The tech billionaire looked skeptical at first, but something in Blue's confident yet humble demeanor made him pause. What happened next surprised even the small crowd gathering nearby. Blue efficiently located the tire kit in the Tesla's trunk and began working with the precision of someone who truly knew what they were doing. As he worked, he casually mentioned a few suggestions about the car's suspension system that caught Musk's attention. "You seem to know a lot about Teslas," Musk observed, his interest clearly piqued. Blue explained his background while working, sharing how he'd lost everything after his wife's lengthy battle with cancer drained their savings and left him drowning in medical debt. Despite his circumstances, he spoke without self-pity, focusing instead on his daily efforts to stay current with technology trends through free online courses at the public library. As Blue finished up with the tire, Musk asked him about his thoughts on electric vehicle engineering. What started as a simple tire change turned into an impromptu technical discussion that left the tech mogul visibly impressed. Blue's insights about potential improvements to Tesla's battery management system were both innovative and practical. The conversation deepened when Blue mentioned his small coding projects, programs he'd written to help other homeless individuals locate resources and services in the city. Despite his circumstances, he'd never stopped trying to make a positive impact on his community. His eyes lit up when he talked about teaching basic computer skills to fellow homeless people at the library. The morning light had strengthened, burning away the fog, as their conversation wound down. Blue refused any payment for the tire change, saying he was just happy to help. But Musk wasn't about to let this encounter end there. He pulled out his phone, made a quick call, and turned to Blue with an unexpected proposition. "How would you feel about coming to talk with my engineering team?" Musk asked. "Those battery optimization ideas of yours, I'd like to hear more." Blue stood there, his weathered hands still grimy from changing the tire, as the weight of this potential opportunity sank in. The story of that morning spread quickly through the tech community, not because of Musk's involvement, but because it challenged people's preconceptions about homelessness and human potential. It wasn't just about a lucky break, it was about someone who maintained their skills, dignity, and desire to help others despite facing tremendous adversity. Little did Blue know that this chance encounter would spiral into something much bigger than a simple job opportunity. His journey from that morning would not only transform his own life but would also spark a conversation about hidden talent, second chances, and the often overlooked humanity of those living on society's margins. The following days were a whirlwind for Blue. He'd been given an unusual task by Musk's team, to document his ideas about battery optimization and present them the following week. The public library became his office, his worn laptop his lifeline to this unexpected opportunity. Between helping other homeless people with tech issues and working on his presentation, Blue barely slept. The local homeless community rallied around him in touching ways. An elderly woman who sold newspapers shared her umbrella during a sudden downpour as he walked to the library. The owner of the coffee shop where he usually sat began saving him fresh coffee and day-old pastries, ensuring he had enough energy to work on his project. On presentation day, Blue stood outside Tesla's headquarters, wearing a clean button-down shirt donated by a local charity. His hands trembled slightly as he clutched his laptop bag. The security guard, who had been briefed about his arrival, treated him with the same respect as any other visitor, but Blue couldn't help noticing the surprised glances from employees as he was led through the gleaming corridors. The meeting room was packed with engineers, their faces a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Blue took a deep breath, remembering the countless times he'd practiced his presentation at the library. As he began speaking, his nervousness melted away, replaced by the confidence that comes from truly understanding your subject matter. His presentation wasn't just about battery optimization, it was a comprehensive analysis of how Tesla's entire charging system could be revolutionized. He'd spent countless hours observing Tesla owners at charging stations, noting their frustrations and needs. His solution wasn't just technically sound, it was deeply human-centered, born from real-world observations. The room's atmosphere shifted as he spoke. The initial skepticism gave way to genuine interest. Engineers began taking notes, asking questions that Blue answered with both technical precision and practical insight. When he explained how his proposed changes could reduce charging time by 23% while extending battery life, even the most doubtful faces in the room showed interest. But it was his second proposal that really caught everyone's attention. Blue had designed a simple app that could help Tesla owners in emergency situations, inspired by his own experience helping Musk with the flat tire. The app would connect stranded Tesla owners with certified helpers nearby, creating a community-based support system. As the presentation concluded, the room burst into spontaneous applause. The head of engineering approached Blue, shaking his hand warmly. "We've had consultants from top firms present here," she said, "but none of them had your practical perspective. Would you be interested in joining our team?" Blue stood there, momentarily speechless. The offer was more than just a job, it was a chance to rebuild his life. But before he could answer, Musk himself walked into the room. He'd been watching the presentation from his office and had something bigger in mind. "The battery optimization project is important," Musk said, "but I'm more interested in your community support app. How would you feel about heading up a new division? We could focus on making Tesla's technology more accessible to communities in need." The proposal was unprecedented. Blue would not only work on technical solutions but also lead initiatives to bring sustainable transportation and energy solutions to underserved communities. It was an opportunity to combine his technical skills with his passion for helping others. That evening, as Blue walked back to his usual spot, he hadn't wanted to presume anything by giving it up, he felt overwhelmed by the day's events. A young woman he often helped with computer problems noticed his expression and asked if he was okay. As he shared the news, her genuine joy for his success brought tears to his eyes. The story could have ended there, a heartwarming tale of talent recognized and rewarded. But Blue's journey was about to take another unexpected turn, one that would challenge him to balance his new opportunity with his commitment to the community that had supported him through his darkest days. The local news had gotten wind of the story, and while some focused on the rags-to-riches angle, others began asking deeper questions about hidden talent in the homeless community. Blue's experience was highlighting a larger truth about how society often overlooks the potential of those who've fallen on hard times. As night fell over San Francisco, Blue returned to his spot one last time. Tomorrow would bring a new chapter, but tonight he sat with his laptop, helping a young homeless veteran learn basic coding, just as he'd done countless times before. Some things, he decided, wouldn't change, regardless of where life took him next. As Blue settled into his new role at Tesla, the transition from streets to corporate offices proved both exhilarating and challenging. His first major decision surprised everyone. He refused the immediate luxury apartment offer, instead requesting that the equivalent money be directed toward creating a tech training program for homeless individuals. His new office, a modest space with a view of the Bay Bridge, quickly became known as the Community Innovation Hub. The walls were covered not with fancy art, but with whiteboards filled with ideas and solutions. Blue insisted on keeping his door open, breaking the typical corporate hierarchy with a leadership style shaped by his experiences on the streets. The battery optimization project was progressing rapidly, but it was his community initiative that truly began making waves. Blue introduced Tech Skills Street Academy, a program where Tesla engineers volunteered to teach basic technology skills to homeless individuals. The public library, which had been his sanctuary during tough times, became their first official partner. One morning, while reviewing project proposals, Blue received an unexpected visit from a cleaning staff member. The woman, close to retirement age, nervously approached his desk with a tablet in hand. Her grandson, she explained, was struggling with math and couldn't afford a tutor. Without hesitation, Blue spent his lunch break showing her educational apps and resources he'd used while staying updated on technology from the streets. Word of his approach spread through the company. Other executives were initially skeptical of his unconventional methods, but the results spoke for themselves. The battery optimization project was months ahead of schedule, largely because Blue insisted on including feedback from actual Tesla owners from all economic backgrounds, not just luxury car buyers. His biggest challenge came 3 months into the job. During a high-level meeting, Blue presented a bold proposal, Project Lighthouse. The initiative would transform and use Tesla service centers after hours into tech education hubs for underserved communities. The cost analysis made several board members uncomfortable, but Blue's presentation included something they hadn't expected: stories. He shared videos of a former teacher, now homeless due to medical bills, learning coding basics through their pilot program. He showed data on how many homeless individuals had tech-related degrees but had lost everything due to circumstances beyond their control. The human element transformed what could have been just another corporate initiative into a mission that resonated with everyone in the room. Musk, who had been quietly observing Blue's progress, gave the project an unprecedented green light. "Sometimes innovation isn't just about technology," he commented, "it's about seeing potential where others don't look." However, success brought its own set of challenges. As Blue's story gained national attention, he struggled with being cast as a miracle success story. In interviews, he consistently redirected attention to the larger issues of homelessness and the need for systematic change. He spoke about the brilliant minds he'd met on the streets, the former software developer who lost everything in the housing crisis, the young engineering graduate whose mental health struggles led to homelessness. One particular evening marked a turning point. After a long day of meetings, Blue visited his old spot near the coffee shop. The owner, who had helped him so many times, was struggling with outdated systems that were hurting his business. That night, Blue stayed late, helping modernize the shop's entire digital setup. When asked why he would spend his evening this way, his answer was simple: success means nothing if we forget where we came from. The incident inspired a new addition to Project Lighthouse, a small business tech support initiative. Tesla engineers would volunteer their time to help struggling local businesses modernize their operations. It was another example of how Blue's experiences on the streets continued to shape corporate policy in unexpected ways. As autumn approached, Blue finally agreed to move into an apartment, but with a condition: it had to be in his old neighborhood. He wanted to remain connected to the community that had supported him. His morning routine now included stopping by his old spot, not to sit there, but to check on others and share resources and opportunities. The local press dubbed him the bridge builder, not just for his technical innovations at Tesla, but for his unique ability to connect two worlds that rarely intersected, corporate technology and community needs. But for Blue, it was simpler than that. He was just doing what he'd always done on the streets, using his knowledge to help others, just on a larger scale. 1 year after changing that flat tire, Blue stood before a gathered crowd at the opening of the first Project Lighthouse Center. Looking at the faces in the audience, Tesla executives mixed with homeless individuals he'd known from the streets, he saw something powerful, the breaking down of invisible barriers that had long separated people based on their circumstances rather than their potential. The story was far from over, but it had already changed countless lives, including Blue's own. As he often said in his community meetings, sometimes the biggest innovations don't come from a lab or a boardroom, but from simply seeing the humanity in each other. The success of Project Lighthouse brought unexpected challenges that tested Blue's leadership and vision. One rainy morning, he arrived at the center to find a line of people that stretched around the block. Word had spread about the program's success, and now they were facing more demand than they could handle. Rather than turn people away, Blue sat down on the center steps, opened his laptop, and began teaching right there in the rain. This impromptu street session caught the attention of a passing tech journalist who captured the moment on video. The footage went viral, not for its inspirational value, but because it showed something raw and real, a corporate executive sitting in the rain, his expensive suit getting soaked, teaching coding basics to a group of eager learners who couldn't fit inside the building. The incident sparked a larger conversation within Tesla and the tech community. Blue used the momentum to propose an expansion of Project Lighthouse, but with a twist. Instead of just building more centers, he wanted to create a mobile learning program. The idea came from his own experience of how difficult it was for homeless individuals to travel across the city for opportunities. Tesla's engineering team converted 3 electric vans into mobile tech learning centers, complete with satellite internet and solar-powered workstations. Blue named them Light Riders, and they began traveling to different neighborhoods, bringing technology education directly to underserved communities. The program was an immediate success, but it also revealed a deeper issue that Blue had long suspected. During one mobile session, a young participant revealed that she'd been a data analyst before a series of personal setbacks left her homeless. Her story wasn't unique, many of their students had previous tech experience but lacked the resources to re-enter the field. This revelation led to Blue's next big initiative, the Return to Tech program. Working with Tesla's HR department, Blue developed a specialized hiring program that focused on individuals who had previous tech experience but had faced severe setbacks. The program offered not just job training, but comprehensive support including mental health resources, temporary housing, and mentorship. It was a radical departure from traditional corporate hiring practices. The initiative faced significant pushback from some board members who worried about risk and liability. During a particularly tense board meeting, Blue quietly pulled up his own resume on the projector, showing his journey from successful engineer to homeless technician and back again. "Every person has a story," he said. "What matters is not where they are, but where they're willing to go." His personal testimony, combined with the successful track record of Project Lighthouse, won over the skeptics. The Return to Tech program was approved, and within 6 months, it had placed 30 former tech workers back into the industry, not just at Tesla, but at partner companies that had joined the initiative. Blue's approach to corporate leadership continued to break conventional norms. He maintained his habit of spending Friday afternoons at his old spot near the coffee shop, this time with his laptop and a sign that read, "Free tech advice, no questions asked." Some of his fellow executives found this behavior unseemly, but Musk defended it, noting that this kind of ground-level connection was exactly why Blue's programs were so successful. The impact of his work began to show in unexpected ways. Other tech companies started reaching out, wanting to learn more about Tesla's community initiatives. Blue saw an opportunity to create something bigger than just one company's program. He proposed a tech industry coalition focused on addressing homelessness through education and employment opportunities. One particularly touching moment came when Blue received a letter from a former Project Lighthouse student. The writer had been living in his car for 8 months before joining the program. Now, he was working as a junior developer and had just signed a lease on his first apartment. The letter ended with a photo of his new workstation, set up exactly like the ones Blue had taught them to use at the center. As the 1-year anniversary of Project Lighthouse approached, Blue organized a different kind of celebration. Instead of a formal corporate event, he arranged a community tech fair in the park where he used to sleep. The fair brought together Project Lighthouse students, Tesla engineers, local business owners, and community members for a day of learning, sharing, and connection. During the fair, Blue overheard a conversation between 2 participants that brought tears to his eyes. A former Project Lighthouse student was now teaching coding basics to a current student, passing on not just knowledge but hope. It was exactly the kind of ripple effect he had dreamed of creating. That evening, as the fair wound down, Blue sat on his old bench, watching the sunset over the city. A young woman approached him, clutching a laptop. She wasn't asking for help with technology, she wanted to volunteer as a teacher in the program. She had seen the light riders in her neighborhood and wanted to be part of the change. This was the real success of Project Lighthouse, not just in helping people find their way back to stability, but in creating a community where help flowed in all directions. As Blue often said, technology is just a tool. The real innovation is in how we use it to lift each other up. The 2-year mark since Blue's fateful tire change brought unexpected developments that would test his resilience once again. The success of Project Lighthouse had drawn attention from government officials interested in scaling the program nationally. One morning, Blue received an invitation to testify before Congress about innovative solutions to homelessness. The preparation for his testimony brought back memories of his own darkest days. In his small office, Blue spent nights drafting his speech, weaving together data and personal stories. He insisted on including video testimonials from Project Lighthouse participants, believing their voices needed to be heard in the halls of power. The morning of his testimony, Blue did something unexpected. Instead of heading straight to the Capitol building, he spent 2 hours walking through a Washington, D.C. homeless encampment, talking with residents and sharing resources. By the time he arrived at the hearing, his polished shoes were scuffed, and his suit was slightly rumpled, but his eyes held the fire of fresh determination. His testimony started not with statistics or projections, but with a story about a cold night in San Francisco when a fellow homeless man had shared his last blanket with Blue. Innovation isn't just about technology, he began. It's about remembering our humanity while we build solutions. The chamber fell silent as he shared how Project Lighthouse had evolved from a simple tech training program into a comprehensive support system. The impact of his testimony was immediate. Several major tech companies pledged to replicate the Project Lighthouse model in their cities. But Blue saw both opportunity and danger in this rapid expansion. During a late-night strategy session with his team, he stressed the importance of maintaining the program's human touch. "We're not building franchises," he insisted. "We're building communities." Back in San Francisco, Blue faced a personal challenge. The success of his programs had made him a minor celebrity in the tech world, leading to speaking invitations and media requests. The attention made him uncomfortable, especially when reporters tried to paint him as a homeless success story. During one particularly probing interview, he finally spoke his truth: "I'm not a success story. I'm just one example of what happens when society invests in people instead of stereotypes." The real breakthrough came from an unexpected quarter. A group of Project Lighthouse graduates had formed their own tech cooperative, offering affordable IT services to small businesses. They called themselves the Bridge Builders, inspired by Blue's nickname. When they invited him to their first official meeting, held in a converted garage, Blue found himself fighting back tears. They weren't just learning tech skills, they were building their own support network. This grassroots initiative sparked a new phase in Project Lighthouse's evolution. Blue worked with Tesla's legal team to create a microgrant program supporting graduate-led ventures. The program provided not just funding, but mentorship and technical support. "We're not just teaching people to code," Blue explained to his board. "We're helping them build sustainable futures." The program faced its first major crisis when a local news station ran a skeptical piece questioning the long-term success rates of Project Lighthouse. Blue's response surprised everyone. Instead of becoming defensive, he invited the reporter to spend a week at the center, attending classes and meeting participants. The resulting follow-up story became a powerful testament to the program's impact. One ordinary Tuesday morning, Blue arrived at the center to find an elderly woman waiting at the door. She wasn't there for tech training. She was the mother of a Project Lighthouse graduate who had recently landed a job at a major tech firm. She had brought homemade bread to thank the program for helping her son. That loaf of bread now sat in a place of honor in Blue's office, reminding him of why their work mattered. The expansion of Project Lighthouse brought new challenges. Some centers struggled to maintain the personal touch that had made the original program successful. Blue addressed this by implementing what he called the Community First protocol. Every center had to maintain strong connections with local homeless communities and social services. "Technology is the tool," he reminded his team, "but relationships are the foundation." As winter approached, Blue launched a new initiative combining tech education with practical support. The centers began offering warm spaces during cold snaps, complete with charging stations and internet access. During one particularly cold night, Blue stayed at the center, coding alongside a group of participants who had nowhere else to go. The next morning, they had not only learned new skills but had also designed a simple app to help people locate warming centers during extreme weather. The story caught Musk's attention again. After visiting several Project Lighthouse locations, he proposed a bold expansion, integrating sustainable energy solutions into homeless shelters using Tesla technology. Blue's team would lead the initiative, combining tech education with practical solutions to homelessness. Despite his success, Blue maintained his connection to the streets. Every month, he still spent one night in his old spot, not for show, but as a reminder of where he came from and why his work mattered. During these nights, he would often meet new people who would later become Project Lighthouse participants. As the 5-year plan for Project Lighthouse took shape, Blue remained focused on the human element. In a world increasingly driven by metrics and data, he insisted on measuring success not just in job placements and salary increases, but in restored dignity and rebuilt lives. "Every technology we develop," he would say, "should serve one purpose: helping people help each other." This philosophy was put to the test when a major tech company offered to buy out Project Lighthouse and turn it into a profit-driven training program. Blue's response was simple but firm: "Some things aren't for sale. This belongs to the community." The impact of Project Lighthouse took an unexpected turn when a global economic downturn began affecting the tech industry. Major companies announced layoffs, and the ripple effects threatened to undo much of the progress Blue's initiatives had made. Instead of retreating, he saw an opportunity to demonstrate the true resilience of the program. During an emergency meeting with his team, Blue unveiled a bold pivot. "We've been teaching people how to join the tech industry," he said, drawing on the whiteboard. "Now we need to teach them how to create their own opportunities." This marked the birth of what would become known as the Tech Enterprise Initiative. The program began training participants not just in coding and technical skills, but in entrepreneurship and small business management. Blue drew from his own experience of offering tech services on the street, showing how even minimal resources could be turned into sustainable income streams if approached creatively. One of the first success stories came from a former automotive engineer who had lost everything during the pandemic. Through the Tech Enterprise Initiative, she started a mobile device repair service, operating from a converted electric van provided by Tesla. Within 6 months, she had 3 employees, all Project Lighthouse graduates, and was serving neighborhoods that traditional repair shops had abandoned. Blue's approach to the economic crisis caught the attention of city planners nationwide. Instead of traditional job training programs, they saw a model that created small business owners who then hired from within their communities. During a presentation to city officials, Blue emphasized the ripple effect. When we empower one person to start a business, they often create opportunities for 3 more. The initiative faced its share of challenges. Some participants struggled with the transition from employee training to entrepreneurship. Blue responded by creating a mentor network, pairing new entrepreneurs with established business owners who had experienced homelessness themselves. These relationships often evolved beyond business advice into genuine support systems. One memorable success came from an unlikely source. A quiet participant who had been living in his car for months revealed he had once run a small software company before mental health issues and divorce left him homeless. Through the program, he not only rebuilt his confidence but also launched a software consulting firm specifically focused on helping small businesses compete in the digital marketplace. The story took an emotional turn when this same entrepreneur returned 6 months later to hire 3 Project Lighthouse graduates. During the job interviews, he sat in the same room where he had once been a student, now offering others the chance he had received. Blue watched from the doorway, understanding that this was the true measure of the program's success. As winter approached, Blue faced a personal dilemma. His success had brought numerous speaking invitations and opportunities to expand the program globally. But he worried about losing touch with the ground-level reality that made Project Lighthouse effective. His solution was characteristic of his approach. He declined most speaking engagements in favor of spending more time in the centers, working directly with participants. One cold morning, Blue arrived at the center to find a group of participants had organized something special. They had created a simple but powerful app that helped homeless individuals locate essential services in real time. The project hadn't been part of any formal curriculum. They had worked on it during their free time, wanting to help others as they had been helped. This spontaneous initiative led to what Blue called the Give Back Protocol. Every Project Lighthouse participant was encouraged to develop a project that would benefit their community. These projects ranged from apps helping people find food banks to websites connecting homeless artists with potential buyers for their work. The economic downturn had another unexpected effect. It brought more skilled professionals into homelessness. Blue adapted the program to include rapid response teams that could help these individuals before they lost everything. The goal wasn't just to prevent homelessness but to preserve the dignity and skills that might otherwise be lost to despair. During this period, Blue never forgot his own journey. He established a special fund for medical debt relief, remembering how healthcare costs had contributed to his own homelessness. The fund worked in partnership with local hospitals to identify patients at risk of losing everything to medical bills. The true testament to the program's impact came during a community feedback session. A local business owner stood up and shared how his entire block had been transformed. Project Lighthouse graduates had opened small tech businesses, helping other local shops modernize their operations. The neighborhood wasn't just surviving the economic downturn, it was adapting and growing. As the year drew to a close, Blue received news that would test his leadership in new ways. A major tech company wanted to replicate Project Lighthouse across Europe, and they wanted him to oversee the expansion. The offer was tempting, but Blue remembered the importance of staying grounded in community needs. His response to the offer reflected everything he had learned. Let's start by listening to the communities we want to serve. Rather than imposing a one-size-fits-all solution, he proposed working with local organizations to adapt the program to each community's specific needs. The story of Project Lighthouse was evolving from a simple tech training program into a movement for economic empowerment and community resilience. As Blue often said, technology can open doors, but it's the human connections that help people walk through them. The international expansion of Project Lighthouse brought unexpected challenges and heartwarming revelations. As Blue prepared for his first trip to Europe to establish the program overseas, he received an email that would change everything. A small town in rural India had independently created their own version of Project Lighthouse, inspired by news articles about the program. The town's initiative, run by local teachers and tech professionals, operated from a converted warehouse using donated computers. They called it Hope Tech Hub, and their results were remarkable. Despite limited resources, they had helped dozens of people learn basic programming and find remote work opportunities. Blue immediately changed his plans. Instead of starting with Europe's major cities, he decided to visit this grassroots initiative first. The journey to the small Indian town opened his eyes to new possibilities. He found that the local program had added elements he hadn't considered, like teaching participants how to access global freelance platforms and navigate different time zones. During his visit, Blue met a grandmother who had learned coding to support her family after losing her husband. She now worked remotely for a Canadian company, all while teaching other women in her community basic tech skills. Her story highlighted how technology could transform lives even in the most unexpected places. Returning to San Francisco, Blue completely redesigned the international expansion plan. Instead of a top-down approach, he created what he called the Local Wisdom Network. The idea was simple: find existing community initiatives and support them with resources, training, and connections rather than imposing a standardized model. This approach faced resistance from some investors who worried about quality control and branding. During a tense board meeting, Blue played videos from various community-led tech initiatives around the world. "We don't need to build everything from scratch," he argued. "We need to empower the people who already know what their communities need." The success of this approach became evident within months. In Brazil, a favela community adapted Project Lighthouse's curriculum to include mobile app development, recognizing that most residents accessed the internet primarily through phones. In Kenya, a group of teachers incorporated solar power training alongside coding classes, addressing both technical skills and practical community needs. Back in San Francisco, Blue faced a personal challenge. When he discovered that the coffee shop owner who had helped him during his homeless days was struggling to keep his business open due to rising costs. Without hesitation, Blue organized a team of Project Lighthouse graduates to modernize the shop's operations. They developed a custom ordering app and helped establish an online presence, saving the business. This incident sparked a new initiative within Project Lighthouse called Community Roots. The program began actively identifying small businesses at risk of closure and offering free technical support. The only condition was that these businesses had to commit to providing opportunities to future Project Lighthouse graduates. The program's evolution caught the attention of the United Nations, which invited Blue to speak about sustainable community development. His speech focused not on technology but on human dignity. "The greatest innovation," he told the assembly, "is finding ways to help people help themselves." As Project Lighthouse's 5th anniversary approached, Blue organized a unique celebration. Instead of a gala event, he arranged a global virtual meetup connecting all the community-led tech hubs that had sprung up worldwide. For 24 hours, participants from different countries shared stories, taught each other new skills, and collaborated on projects. During the meetup, a young woman from the original San Francisco Center shared how she now ran her own web development company, employing exclusively homeless or formerly homeless individuals. Her company had just landed a contract with a major tech firm, proving that social impact and business success could go hand in hand. The success stories were inspiring, but Blue remained focused on the challenges ahead. Climate change was forcing more people into homelessness through natural disasters and economic displacement. He began working with environmental scientists to develop tech-based solutions for communities at risk. One particularly innovative project emerged from this effort. A group of Project Lighthouse graduates developed a mobile app that helped communities prepare for and respond to natural disasters. The app, built with input from disaster survivors, included features like resource mapping, emergency alerts in multiple languages, and community support coordination. As winter approached again, Blue received news that would test his commitment to his principles. A major tech company offered to acquire Project Lighthouse for a substantial sum, promising to scale it globally. The offer included provisions that would make Blue extremely wealthy, but it would also mean surrendering control of the program's community-first approach. The decision kept him up for several nights. During one of these sleepless periods, he visited his old spot near the coffee shop. There, he met a young woman teaching herself to code on a borrowed laptop. Her determination reminded him of his own journey and reinforced what he already knew in his heart. At the next board meeting, Blue declined the acquisition offer. Instead, he proposed converting Project Lighthouse into a non-profit organization owned and operated by its communities. Our success isn't measured in dollars, he explained, but in lives transformed and communities strengthened. This decision marked a new chapter in the Project Lighthouse story. As Blue often said, true innovation isn't about creating something new, it's about creating something that makes a difference. The program was no longer just about teaching tech skills, it had become a model for community-led development and sustainable social change. 5 years after the chance encounter that changed his life, Blue stood on the rooftop of the original Project Lighthouse building, surveying the city he'd once called his sidewalk home. The view had changed, not just physically but in how he saw the potential in every corner of the urban landscape. The morning celebration was unlike anything the tech world had seen. Project Lighthouse was marking its transformation into the world's first community-owned technology education network. Representatives from over 50 countries had gathered, not in a fancy convention center, but in various Project Lighthouse centers around the world, connected through a live stream powered by technology their own graduates had helped develop. During the ceremony, Blue shared the stage with his first student from the streets, the young person he'd helped with phone repairs years ago. Now a successful app developer, she announced the launch of Street to Success, a global platform connecting Project Lighthouse graduates with remote work opportunities worldwide. The platform was revolutionary in its simplicity. It wasn't just another job board, it was a community-driven ecosystem where success was measured not just in placements but in how many people each graduate helped along the way. Every participant was both a learner and a teacher, maintaining the spirit of mutual support that had characterized Blue's original sidewalk tech help station. Elon Musk made a surprise appearance at the ceremony, but not as a speaker. Instead, he sat in the audience, listening as former homeless individuals shared how technology had helped them rebuild their lives. His presence reminded everyone how a simple flat tire had sparked a global movement, but it was the stories of transformation that held everyone's attention. The biggest announcement came near the end of the ceremony. Blue revealed that Project Lighthouse had secured partnerships with major tech companies to create what he called digital dignity zones, areas where free high-speed internet, technology education, and business development support would be available to anyone in need. The first zones would be established in areas with high homeless populations. But it was the personal stories that truly captured the day's significance. A former Project Lighthouse student, now running a successful cybersecurity firm, shared how he'd recently purchased the building where he'd once slept in the doorway. He'd converted it into a tech training center and temporary housing for homeless individuals pursuing technology careers. Blue's own story had come full circle when he received news that his innovative battery optimization system, developed during his first days at Tesla, had been approved for implementation across their entire vehicle line. The royalties from this patent wouldn't go to him personally, he'd arranged for them to fund Project Lighthouse scholarships for individuals facing medical debt, the same situation that had once left him homeless. The ceremony concluded with an unprecedented announcement. The United Nations had adopted Project Lighthouse's community-owned model as a template for sustainable development programs worldwide. Blue's approach to combining technology education with community empowerment had proven that sustainable change was possible when people were given the tools and dignity to help themselves. As evening approached, Blue did something that surprised no one who knew him well. He returned to his old spot near the coffee shop, set up a small folding table, and pulled out his laptop. Just like in the old days, he put up his sign, "Tech Help, Pay What You Can." For the next few hours, he helped people with their devices, shared information about Project Lighthouse programs, and listened to stories of struggle and hope. A young journalist asked him why he still did this, given his position and success. Blue's response captured the essence of everything Project Lighthouse stood for. Success isn't about leaving the street behind, it's about turning every street into a path forward for someone else. That night, as Blue walked through the city, he passed countless small businesses displaying the Project Lighthouse Partner emblem in their windows. Each represented a commitment to providing opportunities to program graduates. The sight reminded him of his favorite quote, which had become the program's unofficial motto: "Technology opens doors, but humanity builds the bridges." The future of Project Lighthouse was now in the hands of the communities it served. Blue had ensured that no single person or corporation could ever take control of the program. Instead, it would continue to grow organically, adapting to local needs while maintaining its core mission of combining technology education with human dignity. As the sun set on this milestone day, Blue received one final piece of news. The first graduate of the original Project Lighthouse program had just opened a center in the same neighborhood where Blue had spent his homeless days. The center's name touched his heart, Blue's Bridge, a reminder that every act of kindness could build a path to transformation. The story of the homeless man who helped Elon Musk had evolved into something far greater than a tale of individual success. It had become a testament to the power of human potential and the importance of preserving dignity while creating opportunity. As Blue often reminded people, the greatest technology we possess is our capacity to help each other rise.